Mr. and Mrs. Taylor had one child. He was a boy. He was 7 years old, and his name was Pat. Now Mrs. Taylor was expecting another child. Pat had seen babies in other people's houses, and hadn't liked them very much. So he was not delighted about the news that there was soon going to be one in his house too. One evening, Mr. and Mrs. Taylor were making plans for the baby's arrival. "This house won't be big enough for us all when the baby comes. I suppose we'll have to find a larger house and move to that," said Mr. Taylor finally. Pat had been playing outside, but he came into the room just then and said, "What are you talking about?" "We were saying that we'll have to move to another house now, because the new baby's coming," his mother answered. "It's no use," said Pat hopelessly. "He'll follow us there."
سڵاتان لێبێ هاوڕانی خۆشەویستم، کاتتان باش بەخێر بێن بۆ چیرۆکی چوارەم، وانەی دووەم کە پرسیار و وەڵامە لەسەر چیرۆکی خاتون و بەڕێز تەیلەر کە منداڵێکیان هەبوو. تکایە بۆ ئەوەی سوودی تاوا لەم وانانە ببینی، هەوڵدە چەند جارێک گوێی لێ بگری و هەروەها خۆت وەڵامی پرسیارەکان بدەرەوە. ئەمە ڕاهێنانە بۆ ئەو بەڕێزانەی کە ئاستیان لە ئینتەرمیدیەیتە و ئەیانەوێت توانای قسەکردنیان لەم ئاستەیە بەرەو پێش بەرن. Okay, let's get the ball rolling. Mr. and Mrs. Taylor had one child. He was a boy. He was 7 years old, and his name was Pat. Okay, I'm going to ask you questions, 5 questions. Number 1, how many children did Mr. and Mrs. Taylor have? Yes, very good. They had only one child. They had one child. Good. Number 2, what did they have? They have a child. They have one child. Number 3, was he boy? Yes, of course, he was a boy. Number 4, how old was he? He was 7 years old. Very good, he was 7 years old. Number 5, what was his name? His name was Pat. Very good, his name was Pat. Let's go. بەڕێزان، تکایە دووبارەیە یەکەمەوە پێشەوەی من وەڵام بدەمەوە تۆ هەوڵدە وەڵامی پرسیارەکان بدەیتەوە. Please, before me, try to answer the questions. No problem if you are making mistakes. Okay, now Mrs. Taylor was expecting another child. Question number 1. Who was expecting another child? Mrs. Taylor. Very good. Mrs. Taylor was expecting another child. Very good. Number 2. What was she expecting? Another child. She was expecting another child. Good. Let's go. Pat had seen babies in other people's houses and had not liked them very much, so he was not delighted about the news that there was soon going to be one in his house too. Questions. Number 1. What had Pat seen in other people's houses? Good. Pat had seen babies in other people's houses. Number 2. Did he like babies? No. He didn't like babies very much. Number 3. Why was he not happy to hear that his mother was expecting a baby? Because Pat had seen babies in other people's houses and he didn't like them very much. That's why he didn't like that news. Question number 4. Who wasn't delighted? Yes, Pat. Pat was not delighted about the news that there was soon going to be one in his house too. Good. Number 5. What was going to be there soon? What happened? Another child. Very good. There was soon going to be another child in his house. Very good. Let's go to another page. One evening, Mr. and Mrs. Taylor were making plans for the baby's arrival. Question number 1. What were Mr. and Mrs. Taylor making? Very good. Plans. Plans. They were making plans. Number 2. What were they making plans for? Yes, they were making plans for the baby's arrival. Number 3. Were they alone when they were talking? Yes, they were alone. Pat was not there. Very good, let's go. This house won't be big enough for us all when the baby comes. I suppose we will have to find a larger house and move to that, said Mr. Taylor finally. Question number 1. What did Mr. Taylor finally say? Yes, he said, this house won't be big enough for us all when the baby comes. He supposes they will have to find a larger house and move to that house. Very good. They have to find a larger house. Number 2. What wasn't big enough for them? What wasn't big enough? The house. Their house was not big enough for them. Number 3. When their house will not be big enough. When their house won't be big enough. Yes, when the baby comes. When the new baby comes, their house won't be big enough for them all. Number 4. What did he suppose? He supposes they will have to find a larger house. Good. They have to find a larger house and move to that. Number 5. What should they find? They should find a larger house. Good. They should find a larger house. Number 6. Why should they find a larger house? Yes, because Mrs. Taylor was expecting another child and the babies will come. So this house is not big enough. Okay guys, let's go to another page. Pat had been playing outside, but he came into the room just then and said, "What are you talking about?" Number 1. Where was Pat when his parents were talking? Yes, Pat had been playing outside when they were talking. He had been playing outside, maybe football, maybe tennis, maybe he was riding bicycle. Very good. Number 2. Where did he come then? He came into the room. Very good. He came into the room. Good. Number 3. What did he say? Yes, when he came into the room just then and said, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" Number 4. Who said, "What are you talking about?" Pat. Very good. Pat said, "What are you talking about?" Pat said, "What are you talking about?" Another page. We were saying that we will have to move to another house now because the new baby is coming. his mother answered? Question number 1. Who answered Pat? His mother or his father? Yes, very good. His mother. His mother answered Pat. Number 2. What did his mother answer? Yes, we were saying that we will have to move to another house now because the new baby is coming, she said. Good. Number 3. Where did they have to move to? Very good. Another house. They have to move to another house. A bigger house, not smaller house, of course. Bigger house. Number 4. Why did they have to move to another house? Yes, because Mrs. Taylor was expecting another child and this house is not big enough for them. So they will have 2 children. They need more rooms. Very good. Let's go to the last page. It's not use, said Pat helplessly. He'll follow us there. Very good. Number 1. Who said it is no use? Pat. Pat said it is no use. Number 2. How did Pat say it is no use? Yes, he said hopelessly. Hopelessly. He was very sad and he wasn't delighted. Number 3. Who will follow them there? Yes, he thought the baby follow them there. Okay, everybody, thank you very much. See you in the 5th story.